Ershad, thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate your time. Tell me about your business. Tell me where you guys are located, your website, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Sure. Shane, thank you for having me. It's definitely great to be on here. I've been checking out some of your previous work, and you've been doing a great job. And I definitely enjoy watching your videos and learning more about other wedding industry businesses. So it's really great to have you on there, and appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Again, as you said, my name is Ershad Zamani with 360sitevisit.com. We do virtual tours for wedding venues, and we have a wedding directory that brides can go on and be able to take virtual tours of different venues, and vendor directory, and other resources as far as blogs and bridal event calendar and things in that nature.
Gotcha.
And our social media handle is 360sitevisit.com or 360sitevisit on pretty much all the different platforms.
Gotcha. That's great. So tell me about what the virtual tour means, right? Like, so you go, I mean, I know what it is, right? You go take a video of the site and basically, but from a consumer perspective, or someone getting married, how does that help me find the venue?
Sure. So with the virtual tour, actually it's not video, unlike most people think.
Really?
It's actually pictures. It's a lot of pictures taken and put together to create the virtual tour, because it's interactive. It's not a video. It's interactive piece that you can literally walk through the space, take your time, look around, zoom in and out, and anything that you want to do. So it's at your pace. It's not, that's how it differs from a video. So a video, you basically following the screen. With a virtual tour, you're driving yourself through it as if you're walking the venue or any space that you're looking at. So that's the main difference between the video and a virtual tour. And what we do is we typically shoot these venues right before an event. So every venue that we have is shot right before a wedding. Giving a real good sense of how the flow is, how the setup looks like, and it really helps out the bride and the venues as far as giving a really good look at what the day could look like. Because most of the time, brides be looking at pictures online, and these flat 2D pictures don't really do justice for the venues, and mainly the pictures are from photographers of other weddings. So it's not really highlighting the space, it's highlighting other people's weddings and setups. So
the work that person does, right?
Correct. So first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna look at a picture and you're gonna start criticizing, the bride's dress and their shoes and everything else. And the only thing you're not really looking at is the venue and the space and what it looks like and what it could be for your
Interesting.
big day.
Yeah. So tell me, so did you guys write this technology, or is this technology already exist? Is this something you came up with? I mean, tell me the story around this whole thing.
So virtual tours have been around for many, many years. It's nothing new. It's been evolving and it's been getting better and better. And there's a lot more technology that's been put into it right now these days. And with today's virtual tour, I can pretty much build anything you can dream of. And whatever you can think of, we can build into the virtual tour. So that's the great thing about it these days, that it's not limited and it's available for any platform. You can view it on your mobile device, you can view it on desktop, laptop, smart TV, even the VR goggles. I should have brought one to show, but with the VR goggles and everything else, you can pretty much
I was going to ask you if there's like a whole virtual reality mechanism of this that you could do.
Yeah, so with the VR goggles, if you put the VR goggle on and use one of our tours, basically it will make you feel like you are in the space. You can look around with your head and up and down, and it feels just like you're in the space.
Nice. Wow. Uh, so what got you into this specifically? I mean, was there something that you were doing that you said, wow, this would be cool to do? No one's doing it. I mean, what was the idea here?
We are, I actually was doing virtual tours for Google for a short period of time, and I wasn't happy with their platform. Platform for Google is very easy to get lost because you have just arrows that you click around and you have no idea where you're going to end up at. So while doing that, I ran into a wedding videographer, and he asked me what I was doing, and I mentioned what I was doing and showed him a sample, and he was like, wow, this would be great for wedding venues. And we figured out that this is definitely something that this industry is lacking, and we were able to fill that that void and be able to create something that the brides are enjoying and the venues are being able to make good use out of. They use it as a marketing and sales tool.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's very difficult. Like if you've gone through maps and you're at the local level and you try to click through and kind of move around, yeah, the Google Maps it's a little difficult. So
yeah, with our virtual tours, we are, again, we can build whatever you can think of. And one of the good thing about it is I basically go in and talk to the venue and find out what they're missing in their sales funnel and sales tools, and showing their venue and being able to interact online and things in that nature, and figure out what their special need is. And from there, we'll put a tour together and create a menu system that works for them and be able to modify it as need be.
yeah.
So everything is pretty much menu driven, and you won't get lost. So a lot of the venues, what they do is as soon as you hang up the phone with them, they just send you a link to the virtual tour. If you're inquiring about that space, they'll send you a link to the virtual tour so you can have a good look at it and see if that venue is for you or not. So you're not wasting the bride's time, and the bride is not wasting your time coming in for something that doesn't fit.
Yeah. Well, and in today's current situation, this actually might be one of the best opportunities, right? To get someone to actually visit and virtually look at the location, provided it's already done, right? So tell me a little bit of, yeah. So tell me a little bit about, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry. So yeah, with the whole situation that's going on right now, this has actually been the best time for our clients who have the virtual tour. They've been benefiting from it tremendously. The last tour we shot was about 2 weeks before the lockdown, and as soon as the venue had the tour in hand, 2 days later they text me that they booked their first wedding using the tour, and they were amazed by it and how cool it was. So
yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I spoke to one of the venues last week, and he told me that he booked 6 weddings during this time using the tour.
Wow.
And he was basically asking brides that, hey, are other venues showing you virtual tours and stuff? And most of them are like, no, they're just sending us email with information. And, with email information, you're not going to get much.
Yeah.
So whoever has the tour has really been benefiting from it during this time.
Yeah, well, that's really just the first step, right? Like the email information, and then you really need to book an appointment to go look at the space, so you can see if it's going to work for you. You know, if you like it, if you make a connection with the space. So I think having a virtual tour, even like in a virtual reality thing, would be really cool to be able to see the space, in how I want to look at it, kind of look at different things. So yeah. I think that's awesome. So how tell me what the process is when someone approaches you and said, hey, I want to do the virtual tour project. What is the process like for them as a business?
So what we do is we typically, like I mentioned before, we sit with them and go over what their void is and what they need really in their sales and marketing funnel, what they're missing, and how we can use the tool to be able to fill that. And once we figure everything out, we figure out a date that works for them. And again, because we shoot right before an event, we don't go in on a Monday when place is empty. We go in right before an event. So, and they want to make sure that it's a decent event that's gonna, really showcase their space. So we'll work out with them to get the right date in, and the technology that we use, it's a lot different than other virtual tour guys, that we have figured out the best way of shooting venues, that we can do this really fast. We can go in and shoot each room. It takes us about like 5 to 10 minutes to shoot each room. And that would be like thousands of pictures in one room.
That's awesome.
But we run through it because we want to make sure that we get the food on the table, candles lit, everything. So if you go into cocktail hours, the food is off on the table, and it's literally right before the bride and groom walk into the door and see the room for the first time. Mm-hmm. So that's how we shoot the tour. And then it takes us about 2 weeks to put the tour together, and a couple of days of little going back and forth with the venue to fine tune everything and make sure everything works for them. And then it goes live. And the venues, what they get is typically just they get a link to the tour. We host the tour, so they only get a link to the tour, so they don't have to worry about, what to do with it, and if it goes down or whatever the case is, they don't have to worry about any of that. We host the tour, we give them a link, they can share the link with anybody they want to, and put it on their social media. They put it on their email signature, they embed it onto their website and everything else. So
gotcha. Yeah, because I was going to ask you about the technology part. Like, do they have to worry about hosting it and not? But you already answered that, which is great. That takes a lot of guesswork out for them, right? Because they're just like, hey, I don't know what to do.
You know how that goes. A lot of time, these venues, or not even venues, anybody, even myself, I'll be like, hey, this is a great thing to do, and let's pay for this piece of technology or device or course online or whatever the case is, and we just pay for it and we don't use it because it's cumbersome. They don't want to learn how to use it or whatever. Exactly. I have technologies sitting here that I have paid hundreds of dollars for, and just laying around, and I'm too lazy to learn how to use it.
I think we all have that problem, especially tech geeks.
Yeah, we want to take that out of the equation. We want to make sure, and we actually have, we follow up with the venues and we send them a sheet that we have learned from other venues, what the best practices are from other venues, how they use it and stuff. And we accumulated a sheet with all the best practices that we send to the venue, and we make sure that they know what to do with it. And we typically talk to their website developers, and we make sure that they can get it on their site and be able to use it properly.
That's good. That's good. How much does something like this cost a venue to get it all set up and hosted and all that good stuff?
Well, as far as cost, it's a little tricky. Depends on what the venue wants, the size of the venue. There is a lot of things that go into a virtual tour, especially the way we do it. It's we can have multitude of different ways of doing this, and we can add video spokesperson, we can add voiceovers, we can add drone footage, we can do different seasons, we can reshoot a same room, with multiple different setups. Mm-hmm. If some of the venues, they use a room for corporate, wedding, bar mitzvahs, and different uses, and we can literally shoot a room 5 different ways and put it on their website together. So it's they can see different views.
Right, gotcha. So what would you say is probably like the average package, I guess, average packet price? So that someone's like, okay, is this going to be $30,000 or is it going to be $5,000? Right?
Yeah, so typically it's around $3,000 to shoot and produce the tour. That's average.
Okay.
And then there's a couple of monthly fees that's associated with that as well.
What does that look
And
like?
that's between like $150, $200 a month, and that gives them the hosting of the virtual tour, and also gives them the directory listing. And we do blog posts, and we do
So to
social
promote them.
media.
Yeah.
We do everything. So
Gotcha. So let's talk about the consumer side of this. So not only are consumers coming to the venue for consultation or trying to get information from them about the venue, but they're also coming to your site, right, as a directory of different venues. So what does that look like for a consumer? They come in, is there something they need to sign up for? Can they just tour these and kind of get an idea and then contact them? What does that look like?
So as far as our website goes, there is no sign up required for brides or wedding planners. They can just go on there and view as many tours as they want. Each venue has its own page with the virtual tour, photos, videos, bio, contact information, all of that. And you know, most of the directories, they don't like to put phone numbers and contact information of the venue on there, so they can fill out the form. But that's not how we feel. We feel like, you know, I personally, a lot of times when I go to a page and I want to reach out to somebody, if there's a form that I need to fill out, I just, you know, I leave.
Yeah.
So we took that out, and we put all the information right on the page so they can easily reach out to the venues. And if the venue wants to know where they came from, that's, you know, up to them to find out and ask that question.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I can imagine the whole form thing is just the track, right? Like the track
right.
where it came from and that sort of thing. But I agree with you. I kind of like the idea in most cases where, obviously, depending on what it is, right? That just give me the number or whatever so I can call.
Right.
I don't have to dig too much into that.
Okay.
That's great. So let's switch a little bit and talk about the business side of things. So as a, kind of a technology business, what would you say, and as a business owner that you've been doing this for a few years now, so what would you say has kind of worked well for you? Is it like your experience prior coming into this? Obviously that gave you the idea to do it, but or is it some things that you've been doing today or in the past year that have kind of worked well for you to grow and do more things?
What has been working well for us and keeping us going is hearing from our venues and hearing success stories. That's basically what has gotten us going.
Right.
And initially what we thought about when we started this, we figured this would be a great marketing tool for the venues. They can use it to get on social media with it and get people to engage, because one of the challenges with most of us, most business owners, is to keep people on our website. People come in, they get a couple of things and they leave. So they spend like, maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute at most on the website, and they're gone. So if you have the virtual tour, now they're going to be engaging with the virtual tour. So they're going to be going through the space, and it's going to take them time, and they're able to, spend more time on the site. So keeping them on the site and ranking better on Google and all of that stuff. So that was our initial thought. But then afterward, when we start talking to venues, we found out that they actually use this as sales tool a lot more than even marketing tool, because most of the time when bride goes in, face it, the room is not available, it's not ready, it's not set up, people are cleaning, or it could be a football game going on or something. And
So it's hard to imagine, right, your event if the place isn't really set up yet for an event. So
correct.
Having a virtual tour actually makes a lot of sense.
Correct. So what they do is most of the time the venue will walk the bride through the space really quick, and then they sit them in the sales room, and typically they put a big screen TV behind them and just show the virtual tour and get a really good sense, and then give them the link to the tour to take home to whoever the decision maker might be, or if they want to share it with friends and family and things in that nature. They can, so it's been really helping the venues, shortening the sales cycle. And with that said, it brings us to getting a lot of good, happy clients, and that's been the driving factor for us.
Yeah, that's great. So on the other side of that, what would you say have kind of been your biggest challenges as a business?
The biggest challenge for us has been, and I assume this is the same challenge for most of the wedding vendors, is to get in touch with the right person at the venue, the decision maker at the venue, and try to make sure that they understand what this tool is. Because it's not, most venues, they're used to doing their sales same way they've been doing it for past 10, 20 years.
Yep.
And now this is a whole new way. And like, wait a second, I want people to walk into my venue. I don't want this. And once they have it, they're like, oh my God, this is so much better, because now you're not having people come in that are not interested in your space. You vet out the people, you make sure that, whoever comes in, they really know your space and they already picked your space. So brides use this tool to basically create their short list, and the venues that they go see is pretty much the ones that they're considering to be in. So, so reaching out and reaching out to the right person and convincing them what this tool does, really, that's been a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, I was interviewing a DJ when I first started the interviews. Curtis Cross actually is his name. And he was telling me that one of his challenges was not just connecting with the right person at the venue, but the relationships at the venue were changing because they had such turnover. And so being able to stay with the right person within that venue, because they're moving and you've got turnover and things like that. That was his biggest challenge, because he'd already built relationships with those venues, and they bring him business, right? Well, now he's got to go back and reconnect and get the right person and then build this whole relationship thing again. So, I don't know if that's more helpful for you, because now you've got, now that you have turnover, maybe it's the people aren't doing the same thing they used to do 10, 15 years ago, right? Like the mindset's a little different. How do we become more agile, or how do we become more efficient and booking and things like that? So maybe there's some advantage coming your way because of those changes and so forth. So it's good challenge.
Yeah, with everything that's going on, I feel like, there's going to be a lot more people receptive to the idea and wanting to sit down and talk. And being that, we have some success stories that we're going to be sharing soon with venues, it's going to be very helpful.
Well, I think you'll see more video conversations. You'll see more, less people together, but on video talking together. You'll see more events that are maybe televised in a video type format versus everyone being together, at least for the short term. And then long term, I don't know what the impact or effects might be. So, who knows? Hold on one second.
Okay.
So that's great. Maybe those things will, like I said, the time is different now, and I think I think we forever changed how we're going to communicate and do things. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes, and tomorrow's norm is going to definitely be different than yesterday's norm. So
yeah, we
have to see what that's going to be like, and I'm sure a lot more virtual stuff is going to be happening.
Yeah, well, which puts you in a really good position, right? Because this is what you've already been doing. This is the technology you've already been focused on. So it's awesome. Yeah, you're in a good place, I believe.
Yes.
So as a business owner, what would you say, what advice would you give other young business owners or people that are in the business but are struggling a little bit? I mean, what are some things that are ahas or things that you always lean on this to help you get through that next thing? Because it's challenging as a small business owner. The dark times are always there lurking over you, right? And so you're always trying to keep your head above water, keep strong, persistence, moving through it. So what advice would you give?
Well, I would certainly say to surround yourself with like-minded people that can help you drive forward and not set you back. And that's going to be one of the biggest challenges because, you know, you have people that are going to be negative around you, and that's going to be the day that you're down and you get one of those guys, that's it, your business is gone. So
Yeah.
don't give up, and you know, surround yourself with the right type of people. That's definitely, you know, the way to go.
Has that been the sustaining thing for you, surrounding yourself with the right people?
Yeah, I definitely have, you know, my days of, you know, why things are not working the way I want them or whatever the case might be. And I have people on speed dial that, you know, I call them up and get back on track basically. So having some mentors around and learning, you know, whenever I'm reaching a little bit at that end, I just, you know, turn into learning and, you know, learn something new or enhance something to help
Yeah.
me get through it.
I always find that the times when you feel like giving up, um, you know, if you can just press through that time of feeling like that, whether it's a day, whether it's a week, whether it's a
Yeah.
month, or longer, right? What happens is you actually become a little bit more stronger to overcome these feelings as they come at you, and then you're like, then all of a sudden a flood of new ideas come in. You start thinking differently, right? But I think you always have to be learning,
Yes.
for sure, right? You always have to be like reading or listening or just kind of, you know, there's not enough time in the day, honestly. I wish you could just like, you know, like the Matrix, just plug yourself into something and then you learn that thing right then. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. But I think if you can just spend some time to try to figure out and get the nuggets out of those things and then assemble it how it works for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially during this downtime. I mean, I've been spending all my time in reaching out to my clients, to my venues, and talking to them and find out what can I do, what can we add to this virtual tour that could be beneficial for you. And I'm always on forums that, you know, with the virtual tour companies and things in that nature, learning new technology, who's doing what
Yeah.
can we do to bring this to the next level. And that's really been the, you know, super helpful thing.
Yeah, well, what can you do to make you different than another virtual tour company, right? Like,
Exactly.
because there's, you know, technology, unfortunately, the good thing about technology, it makes things easier for the most part. Sometimes it makes it harder, but for the most part, it's supposed to make life easier. But it can also be duplicated pretty easily across multiple things. So you have to find the thing that you can wrap into it process wise, or your skill set or the knowledge that you have that makes it the thing that people can go to, right? Versus what someone else might be doing.
Correct. So one of the things that we initially started when we started doing this, we thought about, all right, you know what? Every day somebody comes to you and sees your product and like, oh, this is great for this other type of business and whatever. And we're like, no, we're going to stick with wedding venues, and that's where we're going to go after, and nothing else. We're not changing our model. Wedding venues, hotels, resorts, which, you know, all pretty much fall into the same category.
Yeah, they all do. Yep, absolutely.
Yep. That's our target market, and everything we do has to do with them. So we don't veer off or anything like that. We focus on them, and this way, when we go into a venue and we pitch them with the idea, at least they feel a little bit more comfortable because we have so many other venues under our belt, and they all happy, and we have testimonials from venues. So it's not like, you know, I go to a home one day and a car dealership the next day and, you know, something else. It's not like that. We're completely 100% focused in this industry. And also what's been helping us, you know, to set us apart, and also having more of venues understanding this, is the actual directory. So, you know, when we go to a venue and we pitch them about the idea of virtual tour, that's one aspect of it. But the other aspect is, hey, we have this directory that we get in front of the brides, and, you know, all your competitors are on there. So now, you know, they feel like, okay, well, I should be on there as well because this is a new thing.
Are you guys are limited to your area though, right? Or do you go outside of your area?
We have not gone outside yet. There's so much to do in New Jersey and New York
Oh yeah.
area that we haven't really explored outside, but we will be exploring outside. And if anybody's interested, we can always get photographers in different area to shoot. We can tell them, you know, how to do, what to do, and inspect their work and their equipment to make sure it's what we need. And they would shoot and they send us the raw footage, and we'll put the tour together and everything.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Like, you know, one way for you to maybe expand out is to think about how do you get out of your area, and I think you just described it, right? So you work with other photographers or folks in different areas, train them, make sure that they're, you know, on board with you, what you need, and then do that thing, and then make that part of your package, right?
Correct. So the basic shoot is, you know, we have a list of photographers who can do what we can do as far as shooting part goes, and we make sure that, you know, all the settings are what we want it to be.
Yeah.
And then they can just, as long as they have the equipment and they're on that list, we can easily get them to shoot for us and send us the raw footage.
Nice.
So
that's
we can
awesome.
put together. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, great interview. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time today. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Stay healthy.
Thank you very much, Shane. Yeah, you too. Stay safe, and thank you for having me on board.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. I hope that you found it helpful. Please share it with other people. Also, if you're getting married or you work in the wedding industry, I would love to interview and share your information with other people. Send me a text, 520-399-8580, or shoot me an email at letschat@wedding.report.